Okay. We'll just give a minute or two for the attendees to come in. Hello, everyone. Okay. I'll get started. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for taking the time to attend Pitch Night. My name is Yuen Tran, and I am part of the marketing team at Aves Lair and your moderator for today's Pitch Night. A little bit about our company. We are a boutique VC and seed stage accelerator focused on investing in AI, blockchain, cloud, and data analytics. And today we have gathered the representative from these startups, Arrow AI, Coguse, Scale8, and Nearvine. And each startup representative will be given 10 minutes to speak in total, including 5 minutes for the pitch and 5 minutes for a feedback and Q&A session from the judges. And attendees, if you have any questions for the startups, please feel free to leave them in the chat box, and the startups will get back to you once they are done with their presentation. The pitches will also be graded by the esteemed judges that we have invited. The judges will be ranking their startups based on the chosen categories, including performance, value proposition, team, business model, roadmap, technology, and traction. And the startup with the highest accumulated score will be the winner, and the winner will be announced at the very end. So please stay until the very end to hear the announcement. And here is our judges lineup. Let's start with going around and have our judges, Alina, Evan, and Harumi give a short introduction of themselves. Do you want to start us off, Alina?
For sure. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the pitch night, and thank you, Aves Lair, for inviting me once again to be a judge. So my name is Elena, and I'm running a consulting company in the blockchain and crypto space. It's a global company that is growing successful ventures, focusing on startups and SMEs. The company right now in 15 different locations and been helping projects from Asia, Europe, US, and Latin America. Me personally, I'm also a public speaker, a writer on, of course, blockchain and crypto topics. And recently, I've been also actively involved in NFT space with my other project for NFT ticketing. I also been working with multiple startups from fintech and blockchain space, helping them with their business, establishing their go-to-market strategy, marketing, and understanding how the company can launch in the market and how the project can scale.
Thank you, Alina. Evan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Evan, and I work for Aves Lair. I'm currently an investment associate. As everyone might know, Aves Lair is a emerging VC fund and also an accelerator that invests in high-tech startups in the ABCD sector. So, AI, blockchain, cloud, and data analytics. My job at Aves Lair is not only to evaluate deals, and from ranging from the accelerator side, it's small deals all the way up to Series A. And, we are also very excited to have to be hosting this event, but also very excited to be seeing new companies emerge in the blockchain space and AI space, especially every day. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Evan. Harumi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Harumi Rada Thompson. I have my own consulting practice, out of which I do work with a lot of emerging technology-based companies. My background is finance, so the strongest area being the variation of fintech, and thus I have a very deep involvement with the blockchain and crypto companies as well as part of it. I also am very deeply involved in the space business, which is a little different aspect of the emerging technology, but also very exciting different direction that slightly different areas of the emerging technology. So those things keep, I think, not just me, but a lot of people in the different ways busy and exciting. I am very excited to be here, to be judging all these different startups. It's always one of the exciting events that we get to do. So thank you, Aves Lair, and I think back to you, Ian.
Yes, thank you, Harumi. Thank you, Evan and Alina. Thank you to all the judges, startups, and attendees for being here. And without further ado, let's get the pitches started. First up, we have Roland from Aero AI, a browser extension powered by AI that uses content from the business page to help build effective promotions and deliver engaged users. The stage is yours, Roland.
Thank you, everyone. Great to meet you. I really appreciate your time today, and I'm going to hop right into our presentation. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Click with your community. Aero AI is, we built a tool for small and local businesses to engage with their community with content, paid boosting of content, and to be discovered locally. Facebook is the most important channel. Sorry about that. Facebook is the most important channel for local businesses to be discovered in their community. There's huge traffic and huge volumes of people that no one is addressing. Traditional ad tech mostly ignores these local businesses. As you can see on the screen, 1.9 billion people, that's 1.9 with a B, visit a local business page at least once per week. It's a very, very important channel. But these pages, local business pages, get very low engagement. So imagine working 12 hours fixing things at your air conditioning repair business or plumbing company. You're driving around in your van, and then you get home and you have to go on Facebook or Instagram and post cool, fun memes and pics of yourself, and then boost that content choosing the demographic or geo or behavioral targeting or interest-based targeting. It just doesn't happen. Agencies typically don't work with these businesses because there's no fees. Freelancers are a gamble. So they're really on their own. And these businesses struggle to engage, put up good content, or boost that content appropriately. An example of that is that typically these business pages, according to Hootsuite, get a 0.27% engagement rate. Arrow's not just another ad platform, but we're integrated on page and an in-browser solution. You download Arrow from the Google Chrome store. And here's the really important part, is that our tool requires no experience or special skill to build local engagement, likes, and followers. It's a marketing tool that the way we say is if you can use online banking, you can use our marketing tool. So here's exactly how the tool works. When the business owner visits their Facebook business page, they see Arrow integrated right on page and in browser with a floating tab, which you can see on the right of your screen. And it's just like Honey when you visit Amazon. Or they have the Arrow button right next to the promote button, fully integrated into their Facebook page. There's no login, there's no extra platform for them to go to, there's nothing new for them to learn. And when they click that button or the floating tab, this is what pops up. Again, just like Honey does when you visit Amazon. And within this pop-up, they can post content, fun, cool memes. Our AI will analyze their page and even boost that content where we choose all the best targeting for that content based on the type of content it is, the location of the business category, etc. Our tool chooses the demographic, the geographic, the audience, the behavioral, the interest targeting, everything in one button. All the business owner needs to do is click on how much they want to spend and the number of days they want to run the promotion. So what are the results? Typically over a 300% increase in engagement for these business pages. We're working with an Amco transmission shop in New Jersey right now, and they got over 1,200 engagements, likes, followers, shares, and comments using Arrow for 30 days. And let me tell you, transmission shops are not exciting places. Here's our vision for the future. We see a future where there's millions of micro advertisers, local businesses, gigsters, solopreneurs will spend a few bucks a day across the digital ecosystem. Arrow is the right tool at the right time to serve this community. This is the future of advertising. You know, Facebook added 2.5 million new advertisers in 2020. There's over 500,000 new businesses in the US, and the gigster economy is over 40 million people. This is a huge group of people that will use a micro advertising tool. Browser extensions are a great advantage versus traditional platform. Our cost per user is less than 5 cents per month to run our tool, since it runs locally and in browser. And because we have such a lightweight front end, we've invested over 90% of our tech investment in data, in our AI and ML models on the back end. Our front end is super lightweight, super easy to install. I'll get into the technology in a moment, but there's some other advantages here. But again, being a browser extension gives us significant pricing advantages versus our competitors. Traction. We've been live in the Google Chrome store for 6 weeks. We've generated over 550,000 in revenue in year one in our network business. We've got 250 users, 10 paid users, and that's, again, we've been live in the Google Chrome store for just 6 weeks.
Okay, the time for the pitch is over, so we're moving over to the Q&A session. Thank you. That was amazing.
Okay.
Do you have any questions or feedback for Rollin judges?
So I would like to ask.
Go ahead, Elena, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I wanted to ask more like on a technology side. Did you do like any comparison for like the same project, like using your application and in comparison with just like a normal flow? Like what is the conversion rate? Was it engagement just like with the same budget, but using your tool versus like the traditional way?
Yeah, typically across, and we've tested this across 4,000 or 5,000 Facebook pages at this point, we're seeing over a 300% increase in engagement on average versus just the user picking their own targeting or doing their own boosted posts.
Do you have any like specific case studies that you also can showcase? I think it would be really great to like add an example, like maybe like some of the real projects that worked with you, and you can like run through like your tool and just like show like people the comparison so they can actually see the case study.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this is the right venue. It's such a shortened, time
Yeah.
frame to have just a few minutes here. But yeah, we have tons of case studies. One of the interesting applications for our tool is agent networks. So let me give you a real world example. We're running a pilot study with Compass Real Estate. Compass Real Estate has 18,000 independent real estate agents across the US. We ran a case study with 5 agents in the Chicago area where they saw, I think, a 218% increase in engagement. We have another example of a real estate agent that spent $16 using our tool to boost a post and sold a house for $865,000. So it drove a real economic activity for them. So I'm happy to share those case studies with you.
And what was the learning data set to build the AI algorithm?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've got a proprietary data set based on the correlation of interests. Facebook has 5.5 million targetable interests. This is demo, behavioral, and interest-based targeting. We've mapped that whole ecosystem. We ran about $30 million worth of Facebook advertising to build that data set and map those correlations. And that's the foundation of our AI and ML. We're also using some natural language processing as well. So we're actually scraping and looking at the posts that are on the page and using that NLP technology to do audience targeting that's local and local variation, because a coffee shop in Atlanta is different from a coffee shop in Toledo, Ohio.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I know that we couldn't see the timer at the beginning. So I think as a first pitch group, probably this is we have to kind of gauge what's the best way to go about. So I just want to make this as fair ground as possible. So tell us a little bit, just a little bit about your team, how you make money, and what's ahead of you in just 1 minute left, because otherwise I think it's going to be very unfair to you.
Yeah, of course. Fantastic team, fully on board. Our engineering team is on board right now. We've got a very low burn rate of about 70K a month, including our engineering resources. Justin Lockwood's our head of product. He's built applications that have been downloaded over 100 million times, including one of the first apps in the Apple App Store. Bill Rose comes from Adobe. Disney. He's been building advertising technology for over 15 years. We've got amazing advisors as well from both finance as well as advertising technology, and also from SaaS applications. And our business model is super simple. I'll just flip to that real quick. We've got a network side of our business where companies pay us to set up these, to give them the opportunity to manage hundreds, or if not thousands, of Facebook pages. And that's a SaaS of $2,500 per month. Plus, we just launched our self-service tool for small businesses, where we charge $4.99 a month. And then we have a second set of features at $14.99 a month. That's about as quick as I can cover team and pricing.
So we don't have any time left for the Q&A session, sure, but you can continue on to reply to the question in the chat box.
Okay, great. I'll take the chat. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for the pitch. And I'll give a few minutes for the judges to fill out the scorecard. And for anyone that just joined our event, we are currently hosting Pitch Night. And this event is to provide an avenue to share our network of global industry to the startups that are joining us today. Next, we'll have Flavia from Coguse, a comprehensive platform for the continuum of care that helps hospitals treat stroke and brain injury patients through standardized digital assessments and serious games on mobile devices. The floor is all yours, Flavia.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Flavia, research analyst at Coguse, and today I will present one of our main products, Corners. So I'll share my screen now. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'll start with the problem that we're tackling. Essentially, 10% of patients suffer an adverse event when they are admitted into hospital. Adverse events are medical complications that can prolong hospital stays, and in some cases, even result in a patient's death. Clinical protocols are designed to minimize these mistakes. However, one of the main causes behind adverse events is failure to adhere to these protocols, as they are not accessible nor actionable at the point of care. Our solution Corners consists of a point-of-care mobile app for accessing nursing procedures and a content management system for hospital-specific content creation, so that every hospital can control their own content and protocols. Corners essentially transforms clinical guidance to accessible and actionable step-by-step protocols that include videos, images, and audio tracks, as we can see in these screenshots. Corners provide support in novel situations, during training, difficult and critical procedures, while setting up medical devices, and also night shifts. So our core business model is B2B, and our target clients are healthcare institutions, universities, medical device vendors, and service providers as well. Where applicable, we also sell to our end users directly. In addition to nurses and nursing students, Corners also allows the adoption to patients' family members to help them with rehabilitation procedures at home. Corners is adaptable to different use cases, and this is reflected in our business models. While we sell mainly B2B to hospitals, universities, and medical device vendors, we also sell B2C to patients, informal caregivers, and also nursing students. The annual subscription for hospitals will be 1% of active staff payroll. There are 28 million nurses in the world, which means our total addressable market is over 8 billion euros. Our direct competitors include digital guidelines and checklist providers. However, they focus on improving the content rather than the delivery of the guidelines, hence making the guidelines inaccessible at the point of care. Moreover, they can't be tailored to specific institutions. We have paying customers and government-funded collaborations in 9 countries, where Corners is used to allow for more efficient onboarding of new staff, and also to reduce adverse events and include family members to facilitate post-discharge care. Here we can see another overview of our use cases. So Corners is used as a learning tool for students and junior nurses, also for more experienced nurses to increase guideline adherence, and for family members to aid in rehabilitation procedures for the cared ones at home. Here, there is an overview of our projected budget for different areas in our business development, so sales and marketing, product development, and regulatory and intellectual property, and also projected revenue, which is projected to be over 27 million euros by 2025. We're now raising 2 million euros to execute our 3-year roadmap to expand globally, develop and test new features, carry out clinical studies to further validate our solution, and to expand our team. More specifically, in the next year, we plan to develop new features, implement in over 20 institutions, publish ongoing studies, and also carry out large-scale testing. Here you can see an overview of our partners that are located all over the world, and also our previous funding, which has been over $857,000 in dilutive funding and almost 400,000 euros in non-dilutive funding. Our team is brings together a lot of experience that is very international and comes from digital health, IT, health sciences, and also marketing. Finally, we tightly collaborate with nurses as well to meaningfully improve their experience in the front line. Thanks.
That was great. Thank you for your pitch. Okay, so I see a few hands raised here. Do you want to start us off, Evan?
Yeah, so thank you very much for the pitch. I have a few questions regarding some of the products and as well as the revenue. So I'm a little confused on the current product. I see that there's a lot of blend with the roadmap as well. What do you guys currently have as your product? What features maybe that would help as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me bring you back to the feature side. That would be us. Okay. So essentially, the product is a mobile app, and that's what the end user uses during the procedures. And the main feature is the procedures feature. So essentially, every user has different steps that they can follow as part of a clinical procedure. And every step comes up in the screen and is both spoken by the mobile app and can also be read. But the idea behind it as well is that the nurse, the family member, or whoever is using it can activate it by voice. So every step, the nurse hears it, but they can also control it by saying next. And this aids in following clinical procedures at the point of care, because these are usually stored in PDFs, books that the nurse would have to look up specifically. And these resources are not usually available in hospitals, for example, when the nurse is treating the patient.
Evan, do you have any more questions?
Can I do follow-up questions or
Yeah.
regarding something else?
Yeah.
Or should I? Okay, so yeah, I wanted to know more on the adoption for some of the institutions, because it might be very long. How many of them are actually the partners that you guys are working with, as well as the customers? How many of them are in the US? On that, there's like a whole page of those.
So in the US right now, none. So essentially, we're based off of the US and Estonia, and well, both of the countries. But right now, our customers are based mostly in Europe, Africa, and South America. So we have 9 active customers at the moment.
And how many of those are hospitals? Because I do believe you guys also have schools, right?
Yeah. So it's mostly hospitals and one nursing school, and we're going to start implementing at another nursing school in the next few months. But it's mostly hospitals at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all my questions.
Cool.
Elena, do you wanna ask your questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask like how many like people were like involved in the development process, because this is a very like it's also like based on a lot of qualitative data, right? So like how many people worked on it? Like, do you also have any funnel established with your partners and clients to collect the feedback and make improvements based on their experience?
Yeah. So we have quite big team at the moment. So I showed basically the core team in the other side, but we also have a separate development team that works on both the app development and also the content management system. So yeah, we have a development team separately for that. And in terms of feedback, we collected from all of the institutions that we're working with. So essentially, we have different pilots going on at the moment, and those are used to collect both qualitative and quantitative data. So we have one pilot active, like 2 pilots active in Estonia at the moment, from where we collect qualitative data, and also the one that is in Colombia. That one is used for quantitative data regarding the induction process for nurses in hospitals, because we're trying in Latin America, there's a big turnover problem for nurses. So that's why we're measuring that.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have a little bit time. Harun, do you want to ask your questions?
Yes, so this is a part question, part feedback. So Flavia, I do agree that the medical field definitely can take an improvement, but given that your target clients, although your clientele is much wider than that, is initially nurse, I'm not sure if what you actually show as a part of the product and your initial target clientele are exactly matching, because the nurses under circumstances, right? Even although you have the audio service and everything, this is, I think, more for teaching, right? Than actually somebody who's about to save the life of a patient. So that's a business proposition that you might want to give some thoughts to. So on that note, because of the way you're going to be selling this, obviously, like you might have some B2C aspect of it, but I think a majority of your commercial is probably going to come from B2B2C structure rather than just B2B or B2C. So that's another thing that you can probably refine. So it's a part sort of question, part feedback. What do you think about that? That, so far you sold to a few clients. What kind of feedback have you had so far?
Well, the feedback that we've gotten is positive both from nursing students and nurses. So there's actually space for using it also in the hospital. And yeah, it's not meant to be used for every single procedure in the hospital. So we're actually developing new features that suggest what the procedure the nurse should be using corners for, what procedures corners is not necessary for. So definitely it's not meant to be used all the time. But for example, if a procedure that is scheduled, so it's not an emergency procedure, and the nurse hasn't carried it out for a long time, then they can benefit for sure by using corners. So yeah, the point I think here is that the corners is very adaptable. So it's not meant to be used all the time, but it can be used for the different situations.
Okay. Thank you, Flavia, for your pitch. Since we're out of time, we'll be moving on. I'll give a few minutes for judges to fill out a scorecard. And in the meantime, I want to remind everyone that we are at our last startup. So please stay tuned until the very end to hear the announcement. And I would also like to add that since we still have time left after the last pitch, we'll add in a free Q&A session for, it'll be 5 minutes for each startup. So this is the time where judges, if you still have any questions for any of the startups that you have not yet asked, you can ask at this time. And startup, you can go over the parts where you could not mention earlier. And also, unfortunately, because there's another startup that wasn't able to join us. So we'll be moving on straight to people. But
Sure.
yeah, okay. So next we have people from Skillate, a hiring and recruitment AI power solution to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the hiring process. Please start whenever you're ready, people.
Sure. Once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So hi everyone, I'm Vipul. I'm the founder and CEO at Skillate. So we are building the enterprise SaaS application that helps companies to optimize the talent acquisition process with the power of AI and chatbot. So we are building this company for the global enterprise market, having the customers based out of India, Singapore, US, Philippines. And last year, we also became the global partner with SAP and Microsoft to target the global market. So as of now, we are working with 66 enterprise customers, and that includes the big names like Coca-Cola, Mahindra, SopraStria, to the unicorn startups like Ola Caps, Baidu, CleverTap, right? Two things here. One, we are sector agnostic. So we have the customers from the multiple industries. Second, like I said, we have the customers across the geography, mostly from India, US, and Singapore. Now, what is the pain point that we are trying to solve? So globally, all the companies, from the mid-size to the large enterprise one, and that includes the names like Coca-Cola, SopraStria, right? All these companies are already using some kind of legacy HR applications. And most of the HR applications include the SAP, Oracle, Workday, Smart Recruiters kind of ecosystem. Although the HR applications have the capability to solve end-to-end HR problems, but their recruitment modules actually sucks. And what I mean to say that once the hiring team of these companies start using the HR applications, they struggle with the fundamental gaps in UI, speed, lack of automation. Even if they are having the HR applications, they are highly dependent on Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet for the data management. or other platforms for the communication with the candidate. Even the biggest challenge is that there's a lot of stake. These companies cannot even replace the HR applications because they have signed the multi-year contracts, already spent millions of dollars into buy the HR applications and have been deployed at the global level. So it will require a very high stake to replace the HR applications. To solve this problem, what we do is we provide Escalate as a talent intelligence platform that seamlessly sit on the top of existing HR applications and provide the AI layers and chatbot on the top of it. After this integration, we solve the existing gaps as well as helping the companies in transforming their recruitment process in 3 dimensions, which includes intelligent hiring, candidate experience, and diversity recruiting. Now let's talk about the product capabilities of Escalate, how we are helping our customers. So we have the multiple product capabilities. The first one, we include the AI powered matching. So it understands the sentiment of the job, understands the persona of the candidates, and stack ranks all the profiles with the decreasing order of relevancy. Second, the next one that we have is the chatbot screening. So with the help of this, the chatbot interacts with the candidates and thereafter collect all the informations like, are you looking for a job change? What is the current CTC? What is the notice period? And this helps out to eliminate the phone screening process. If you combine these 2 features, the entire screening process will be optimized/automated with the help of matching and the chatbot screening. The next one that we have is the automated interview scheduling. So with the help of this, it is again powered by the chatbot, where the chatbot interacts with all the stakeholders, interviewers, and the candidates, and automatically schedule the interviews. And this saves a lot of time for the recruiters in doing back and forth information exchange between the recruiters and between the hiring manager and the candidate. The next one that we have is the campaign management. It is very similar to the marketing tool through which you can engage with the candidates and build the featured pipeline. The next one that we have is the career speech chatbot, where you can deploy the chatbot on the career speech website and increase the candidate engagement and improve the candidate experience. And the last one that we have is the candidate masking, through which you can enable the diversity and inclusion into your organization. So these are the product features that are bundled together, and we provide this into the existing HRMS applications. After doing this, the impact of this is, we are getting a lot of customers love. On the G2 Cloud, we are having the rating of 4.9 out of 5. On Capterra, we are having the rating of 4.8 out of 5. And our NPS stands at 35. So that is the customer love that we are getting from our existing customers. So currently we are coming to the traction. So we are having the ARR of $400K. We have grown 4x in the last 1 year. And as of now, we have processed more than 10 million resumes and more than 2 million chatbot interactions have been done, with the help of Escalate application. Coming to the fundraise. So currently we are looking to raise $1.2 million. We are going 50% of the capital will go on building the sales and marketing engine for the US market. And the target is to touch $2 million ARR by December 2022 after raising this capital. Coming to the team. So we are the 3 founders who have started the company. All 3 of us are graduated from the Premium Institutes, which is IIT Guwahati, one of the top institutes at the global level. All of us had the SaaS background. I was working as a data scientist in DataWeave. Samba was working as a senior software engineer in capillary technology, and Anand was working as an analyst in Traction. Apart from that, we have raised the capital from the Japanese investors, which includes the Incubate Fund and Manavi Corporation. And our investors, we also have the Whatfix founders, Khadim and Wada, as our angel investors and advisors.
Okay, thank you, people. That was really well. Do you have any questions or feedback for people judges? Evan, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Vibol, for the presentation. I wanted to get to have a better sense of your current traction and your customers. So first of all, I'm guessing I'm a little confused on who your direct customer is, because if you're added on top of the current softwares that are out for some of these big corporations, these legacy HRMS, right? Are you targeting them, or are you targeting the other globally companies that's out there? And
so
the second,
right. So actually so we are targeting the companies. We are targeting the corporates, mostly the enterprise. We are mostly targeting the companies who are already using these HR applications. 40% of the global enterprises are already using SAP, Oracle, Workday kind of ecosystem. So our target customers are the companies who are already using these HR applications. But we also provide the standalone SaaS application. Let's say if any company who doesn't have any HR application or the recruitment system, we also provide the Skillet as a standalone SaaS application. So we have both the services. One we integrate. Second, we also provide the standalone SaaS application. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very
Did I
much.
answer the
And
question?
what about traction? Have you guys done? At what stage are you guys at? I'm guessing the project's already launched. What is your current like traction and customer diversity look like?
So I would say that so we are currently having $400K ARR. You can see this is our ARR. And the second thing is that currently we're working with 66 enterprise customers. Most of the customers are based out of India because we started out from India. But from the last few months, we have also acquired the customers from the US. And recently we have signed, $40,000 deal based out of US and a few customers from Singapore and Philippines. Yeah. So this is the geography: India, US, Singapore, and Philippines.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm gonna pass back to some of the judges, so I can get more questions later.
Yeah.
I suppose that might be me. So, okay, then my question to you is, and it's going to be partially like a follow up to Ivan eventually mostly, but I do think that, recruiting, yes, I agree, there are a lot of pain points. And some of the pain points being, from the chooser's point of view, right? All these recruiting agencies, whether they are deploying like some kind of technology or it's very much human business, they all say the same thing: we'll take away your, we take away your pain points, and then we'll get the best talents for you. So I don't know what makes indeed your system like any better than some others. So I want to see what is really special about your system. And on that note, it said that, some of the things that you do, like an automated screening and things like that, but when it comes to people screening, when it's like, when we rely on the technology, what people start doing, they start putting all these like keywords that may or may not be true, just so that they get picked. Who's actually going to filter these things out? That was really my question.
The first thing I would say that, as of now, if I talk about, the companies who all claim that, we are going to solve your recruitment problem. First of all, most all the enterprises across the globe are using recruitment consultancies, right? And all these consultancy provide the right talent. The thing is that, to manage those recruitment consultancies, all the companies also use the platform, which we call it as the applicant tracking system, right? Or HRMS product. Here, the USP of Skillet is, we say that we will integrate on the top of your ATS, on the top of your HRMS, and the existing gaps that you are facing in the existing HRMS, that problem will be solved with the help of automation, Skillet AI, and the chatbot. Second, I completely agree that the candidates writes a lot of keywords into the resume or the chatbot. But what I would say that the AI model that we have trained, it actually understands the sentiment. What exactly you're looking for. So let's say, even if the candidate will write, I have the expertise in machine learning, but what are the projects that you have done in the machine learning? Whether you have worked in TensorFlow, or whether you have used all those kind of tools which are very similar to the machine learning or not. So those kind of, training the AI model already has, which understands the sentiment, and thereafter it recommends the candidates. Yeah.
Thank you, people. And thank you, judges, for your feedback and questions. I'll give a few minutes for judges to fill out the scorecard. And just as a reminder, we'll now be moving into the free Q&A session. So judges, this is time for you to ask any questions you couldn't ask before. And we'll be following the order of the presentation. So we'll start off with Rollin, and then we'll go on Flavia, and people will be last. Okay. Do you want to start us, Rollin?
Yes.
Judges, do you have, I see Evan has his hand on. Do you want to start us off with the question, Evan?
Yeah, so Rowan, I have a question about more of the data that's collected. So I remember you guys were talking about the data sets that generated, right? So who owns the data sets, and also are you guys collecting data in the first place?
We do collect data. Its data is related to the business category of the page, the post, the content of the post, the clicks, the engagement, likes, shares, traditional Facebook advertising metrics. And that's specifically related to various audiences that the content is posted to. The data, our perspective around data is that the data generally belongs to the small business owner. And it all remains directly in their Facebook account, and they have access to it. What we do is use that data at an anonymized level to inform our machine learning and AI models to make the performance of our system better.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Elena?
It will be more like a follow-up question on the data side as well.
Sure.
So you're since you're collecting this data, like I wanted to ask if you're getting like feedback and some information from like already existing clients, that helping for you to improve your learning algorithm, like, and how, like, the way your AI algorithm works.
Well, the feedback that we gather is directly from the performance of the post. So it's those Facebook metrics that we're talking about, engagement, which is ultimately the value for the end user, is they get better engagement locally in their community. I'll make a quick comment around the privacy thing, and then let me answer your question directly. So we are a privacy first company. We're not using device ID or cookie data, both of which I think are dying data sets and generally not seen as respecting the privacy of the end user. This is a proprietary data set based on the correlation of interest. So in terms of user feedback, the performance of the tool is the main form of feedback, but we've also done some surveys along our users as well to get their more qualitative feedback on the use of the tool, specifically around the ease of use. One of the things that we're committed to as a North Star, and we look at companies like Honey, which built maybe the most successful browser extension that's out there with 17 million users, is it has to be dead simple. It's got to be right on the page and easy to use. So we're also gathering qualitative feedback around the interaction of the user and the ease of use. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I wanted also to add, like, how do you measure like engagement if there is increase of engagement? Because if we talk about like businesses, and you already mentioned it as well, that like they're all very different, right? So engagement for like a B2C application wouldn't be the same as for like a B2B like business, right? So I'm just like kind of curious, do you pull out like some market benchmarks? Do you compare their previous performance that they had before they started using your tool? How do you measure their engagement increase, and how do you measure if like it was a successful experience using your tool?
So the measurement of the success of the tool is based on the metrics that are directly you can see in Facebook. So if you look at the engagement, the number of likes, the number of shares, the number of comments, the number of followers on a Facebook page prior to implementing our tool. And then if you look at the number of likes, comments, shares, engagements, and followers after our tool, that provides the level of engagement. Now there's a secondary set of data that has to do with, did they click through to the company's website? Did they actually go through that and purchase that? Did they go and call the store and schedule an appointment to have someone come fix their air conditioner? So there is a secondary set of business metrics that are related to performance, but we've been very careful, Elena, not to go into that. There's a lot of tools out there that do CPA kind of advertising. We're not that tool. We're really meant as a front end engagement, and that's why we offer content as well. So we think that we really solve a problem for a whole group of users that are in that 0 to 1 stage of like, they have no advertising and no engagement, and they need to get in the game. And that's actually a much bigger set of user than the users who are sort of in the advertising game and looking to increase performance. And that's an important, I think, distinction to think about in our tool.
So kind of like a stepping stone, like in advertising and social media. That sounds cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Stepping stone's great. We call it a ladder of success, but no, it's the same idea, right?
Yeah.
It's
Stepping
absolutely
stone is
this.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, stepping stone is probably a better way to say it, right? So it's for folks who are not in the game, and there's millions of them, and literally millions of businesses that are intimidated, not sure what to post, can't get in the social media game, and their businesses are suffering. So, you know, not to be too soapbox about it, but it's an important distinction, because there are a lot of advertising performance tools out there. I know, because I've been building them for years, and we're not that.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
Got
you.
it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you,
course.
Brian. So now we'll be moving on to Flavia.
Thank
Judges,
you.
do you have any question or feedback for Flavia?
I have a general feedback that maybe I would just share like at the end after everyone.
Yes. If now we'll be I guess we'll be moving on to people. Judges, do you have any question for people regarding his pitch or company?
Yeah, if there's no one else, I can start.
Yes.
I wanted to share like more specific feedback, because we have like a 5 minutes pitching, right? And it's like consider usual elevator pitch. So I would just really recommend to focus on unique value proposition, and just try to keep like your slides not that wordy, because it's very hard for people to actually get what you're trying to explain, because it's nice to like include like a lot of information about the project, but maybe like in the follow-up email or like some additional like deck, right, that you're sending to investors. But your main goal is actually to attract their attention and make them like listen to you and see something in your project. And it's very hard to understand when you're trying to kind of jump like from one thing to another, like mentioning like different companies, a lot of different words on a presentation. It's just like really hard to understand what is this project about, because we're trying like to read the slides at the same time listen to you, and at the end of presentation we kind of ended up like with no information about what you're actually trying to build and how you better than competitors. So I just really suggest to focus on why, like what are you building and why you and not other projects. Also, like when mentioning like a team, you don't need to go into too much details. You can say we have people like from, I don't know, you can mention some like PhDs, you can mention some other like industries, achievements, right, within your field, and can always say like, guys, feel free to like check us out, right? You don't need to go like one by one. So it's also kind of, you can cover all these aspects that we're trying to make our decision on, but in a very short way, just like highlighting the most important things that we wanna like hear. And for investors also, they want to see how you actually gonna reach like $1 billion valuation, right? So that's what they're interested to hear. So I didn't really see their go-to-market strategy and like how you actually trying like to grow and scale.
Sure.
I
Thank
will
you.
provide more feedback. Yeah, it's just like in general, and it's very like related to other projects today. So yeah, I just let
No, thank you so
other
much.
judges to cover.
Yep.
Evan, do you want
Yeah.
to continue?
Yeah, I just like to add on top of that, since we're on the topic. I think generally what catches my eye is uniqueness of a product, the team, and I guess the general story of how this makes sense. A lot of times, you know, founders, when we're doing introductions, before this, I think it really helps put a picture on what they're trying to build from the founder's background as well. A lot of them come from tech backgrounds, some of them made their own startup. I think that really helps paint a picture for us as well.
And Harumi?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm also adding on to what Elena and Evan said, and I even actually commented into one of the feedbacks saying start with a punchline, right? I mean, this is not a half-an-hour conversation. This is a 5-minute pitch, and not all of the pitch is going to be spent on just talking about you, because you have to talk. I mean, the company, because you have to talk about yourself, and you have to kind of see how the general population is reacting and all that kind of stuff. So what's really your punchline, right? And then also another thing that I was thinking about, because you are at the end of the day, like you're going to be using this pitch deck to ask for money to various different potential investors. What does the competitive landscape really look like? I can assure you that you're not only the person who's actually making the project. So what I would be thinking about as I listen to you is am I going to be investing into a million different sort of similar companies, or you're kind of coming in really ahead of the curve, right? I mean, that's going to be something that you guys need to think about. And I really did not see anything about, you did not have time to show it in depth in 5 minutes, but I also did not see on the deck, what your market competitive landscape looks like in any of the deck when I was actually going through it prior to today, as the decks were invited to me. So I was very hesitant, all of you were asking north of $1 million, which is not if you think about it, right, it's not the smallest amount of money. You're not asking for 100,000, you're asking more than $1 million to someone. If I'm going to be putting down $1 million of my money, then I would be thinking, is this 1 million actually going to come back to me in one way or another? Or it might disappear into the competitors of hundreds of different people. So that's sort of what I wanted to add to the comments that were already made by Ellen and Evan.
And just maybe last thing that I wanted to mention is it's for all projects. Just imagine yourself in actual elevator. And I think the best presentation and pitch is actually the one that doesn't have slides. If you're able to explain to investor what you're trying to build and what is your value, without even showing any information, an investor can get it just running to a job, to office or anywhere else. I think that's already a really big part of success, because they will be actually willing to listen to you and have another meeting. So always practice, I don't know, just try to pitch even without slides. If you're able to explain everything without it, I think it's a really a big part of success in pitching.
Okay, thank you, judges, for your questions and feedback. I hope all of the questions you have are covered. Okay, so now I'll give some few minutes for judges to fill out the scorecard. And thank you to our startups for pitching again. Please feel free to drop your contact information in the chat box so the attendees could reach out to you if they have any questions or if they want to connect. And while we wait for the judges to finish grading the startups, I would like to thank everyone here for making Pitch Night possible for us. We have received over 100 applications all around the world, ranging from countries including Canada, Africa, United States, Israel, India, and Estonia, which has been very rewarding for us. And Aves Lair, we are committed to bridging traditional industries to the most enigmatic technologies like AI, blockchain, cloud, and data analytics. Through cross-border investments, we are able to offer the support to all the startups from all around the world. And we host events like Pitch Night to provide an avenue to share our global network and resources to the startups that join us. And now to each startup that is here today, you will be connected to the judges and will receive the grading as well as the feedback in a PDF file. So be on the lookout for that in a couple of days. Please also save the date for our next pitch night happening on January 5th, 2022 at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you have not done so, please leave your contact information in the chat for the attendees to reach out to in case they have any questions or want to connect. Okay. And the time we have all been waiting for is finally here. But before we announce the winner, could we have everyone to turn on the camera so we could all take a photo to commemorate this moment? Okay, are we all ready? I'll do a countdown, so don't. Okay, okay, so 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay. Do you want to take another one? Let's do another one. Okay. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, that's great. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So without further ado, the startup with the highest accumulated score is congratulations to Rowan from Aero AI for being the winner of this pitch night. And I would like to highlight again for the prize as a winner. So you'll get a fast track interview for our incubator, accelerator, or VC program, depending on the stage of your company. You'll also get feedback from the mentors and VCs in our ecosystem, getting exposure on our social media platforms, featuring on our newsletter and investor-only mailing list. So congrats again, Rowan.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's been a great experience, and I look forward to connecting to the various programs as well as the mentors. So thank you for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'd also like to shout out to people in Flavia for your incredible pitches. As I mentioned earlier, everyone here will be receiving the PDF file of the grading and the comments from the judges. So please look out for that. And judges, do you have any final thoughts or comments for the startups participating in today's pitch night?
I think at this point, I just like to say, I mean, it's always nerve-wracking. I mean, I have done one of these things, you know, as a participant, right, myself in the past. So thank you for pulling this together, and then not being able to see how the audience is generally reacting to pitch in person by visuals, and everybody's kind of like, behind the camera. I know it's hard. So thank you very much for bringing your nerves together and then pitching tonight, today, this morning, whatever the time zone that you're in.
Thank you, Alina.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know that it's like always very hard to understand how to pitch a project, especially when you're so deeply involved in it, right? It's very hard to see it from like other people's perspective. And I've been through this journey myself. So that's why like I always recommend just keep it very short, simple. Just try like ask investors like to imagine them in this situation, imagine them using this product or like experiencing a pain point. That's why like I'm a really big fan of pitching without having any slides, because that's the way you can actually establish a connection and the conversation. So yeah, just keep it simple. Try to like pitch it to your friends who are completely from different industry, and if they get it, then it will be, of course, easier to pitch to investors.
Thank you, Alina. And Evan?
Yeah, so I kind of want to just piggyback on some of these comments. I look at thousands and thousands of companies throughout the whole year. So at some point, we really like to pick up keywords, and a lot of these traction and hitting on what's so unique really can help us really understand. And having that demo, I remember one company had the demo and it was explaining us, walking it kind of through. I really like that. And yeah, I think, of course, it's going to be nerve-wracking. And I think a lot of times it's, the more you pitch and the more events these type of events that you go to, I think you'll refine your pitch. And as time go on, I hope for the best for everyone.
Thank you, judges, for your comments. Thank you for the startups again for the incredible pitches. Thank you for the judges for your grading and feedback and your time being here. And thank you to all attendees for coming to our event, and everyone for such an exciting night. And to stay connected with Aves Lair, we'll be including a few links in the chat. And we'll also be, as mentioned earlier, hosting another pitch night on January 5th, 2022. So for those who are interested in joining, we'll also be having the application form link in the chat. Thank you everyone for coming today, and I look forward to seeing you in our next pitch night. Thank you. Have a great day or night.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Thank you.